Welcome back. There has been a big setback for the Mamata Banerjee government from the Supreme Court today. The Apex Court has dismissed the West Bengal government and State Election Commission's petition opposing the Calcutta High Court order deploying central forces during Panchayat elections. The Supreme Court order has also said that the order of the High Court will not call for any interference as it is meant to ensure free and fair elections in the state. Now, reminding the state government of its violent history between 2013 and 2018, the Apex Court also noted that holding polls cannot be a license to violence, and that such deployments, which means deployment of central forces, are crucial. They are necessary. The top court has also pulled up the state poll panel, saying that it is its duty to conduct elections that too are free and fair. The state poll panel is now saying they will adhere to the top court's orders and will write a letter to the central government requesting 2 companies of central forces to secure poll booths and strong rooms. At least 7 people, ladies and gentlemen, have been killed in political clashes ahead of the Panchayat elections that are scheduled for July 8th.
Supreme Court, in a way, has shown a clear mirror to the West Bengal government. They have been totally exposed. Supreme Court has said that the State Election Commissioner itself asked for deployment of the forces. And now you are opposing the deployment of the forces. In a way, you are ridiculing your own previous stand. And this also shows that there is some nefarious design which is going on, and particularly when this type of rampant violence is very much there in the public domain.
You see, the central force is not at all any headache. We are ready to face central force, military, the peace force even from Rashtra Sangha, United Nations. But that was a technical problem that in Lok Sabha votes, Rajya Sabha polls, Central Election Commission central force, and in state level, local elections, Panchayat and municipality or corporation elections, State Election Commission and state force.
My guest this evening, Shatorupa is spokesperson of the BJP, joining us on the broadcast, and Mohammad Tauseef Rahman is a spokesperson of the TMC, joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Rahman, what exactly was this statement? I didn't understand it. This was from Mr. Kunal Ghosh. And what is your problem with central forces?
Good evening, Shatorupa ji. Well, Kunal ji stated clearly that we have no objection right now if the central force is coming and no one is above the law. And he was in a kind of very jovial manner. He said that whether it's a peace room or war room, whether it's coming from United Nations or from the governor's office or whatsoever, we will deal with it. You know, ma'am, it is very simple. You know, I would like to state that this in clear terms that Trinamool Congress is not involved in this incidence of violence. You know, the party leadership has issued strong instruction to booth workers to refrain from violence and make sure that the entire nomination procedure remains free and fair. Ma'am, you have to know this, that we have seen that over 1 lakh nominations have been filed by different political parties until June 4. Now, this number speaks itself. And never before in Bengal we have seen such participation in such huge number. This shows that the entire nomination procedure is bereft of political administration and interference, ma'am. And now if you want to create a massacre in Bengal by getting in your pocket with ISF, which is the BJP's new partner in crime. So, ma'am, it is very difficult to stop any massacre. And I would like to tell you this as well, that Abhishek Banerjee, the General Secretary of All India Trinamool Congress, he said before 12 June itself that if anyone, like he understands, like Panchayat election is kind of very sensitive, but if any nomination faces any kind of trouble, which again he quoted that he's not doing no favor, but if any trouble is there, in Bengali we say one dake Abhishek, like he's just a call away. So you can give him a call and things can become normal. But ma'am, it is, you know, like whether CM strictly gave instruction, she will not tolerate any nonsense, whether it's from TMC or any opposition. Despite with successful nomination, BJP is still crying and talking about undemocratic situation in Bengal, which has been affected largely in the mind of
No, but that situation is undemocratic. Mr. Rahman, Mr. Rahman, but the fact is you've quoted a figure to me. Let me quote your figure. Let me quote a figure to you. Since the nomination process began for the West Bengal rural elections, how many people have died? 7. 7 people have died in this pre-poll violence. What explains that? More than 7. What explains that? Obviously, law and order is not in control in the state of West Bengal. Obviously, state forces. Ek minute, Tauseef. Obviously, the state police is incapable of handling it or doesn't want to handle it. One of the two. Right now, if they are incapable of handling this violence or if they don't want to handle this violence, then you have to call a force that is bigger and better, which are central forces.
No, definitely, Shreya ji, I totally
There should be
agree
no
with
problem.
you. I don't want to disagree with you. You are totally right on your part. But the thing is that, but if someone is behind this massacre, like if something happens in India, God forbid, if a bomb blast happens
What
in
massacre?
India, are we going to blame Narendra Modi
What
itself?
massacre? What are you telling me?
But if someone wants to
Tauseef,
create
I
a
don't
ruckus,
understand this.
a
What are you
massacre,
saying?
a
What are you trying to say
misunderstanding in
here?
the state of Bengal, I mean, it's very difficult to stop when ISF, BJP, Congress, Left Front, if they all want to come under one umbrella and want to create a ruckus in Bengal. But don't worry, we will stop everything, and I show that. And I show you that. If you know the chart table of nomination for 14 June, then 18 June, and today is the 20th June, you will see there is only 1% of difference where they could not file their nomination. They are everywhere. BJP standing in the second line after TMC.
No, you know,
now they are shortage of 25 to 30,000
Tauseef.
nomination. Maybe they don't have such people who want to nominate themselves. And this kind of violence which is happening in Bengal, it is very sad. It is not entertaining at all. And the Chief Minister of Bengal will,
No,
she's
Tauseef,
standing like a mountain.
last time also, Tauseef, let me remind you of what happened 5 years ago. Again, during the Panchayat elections, there was widespread violence. The central forces were called in, and the TMC had a clean sweep of those elections. So whatever nefarious designs of the centre that your spokesperson, Mr. Kunal Ghosh, was talking about are not based on facts. You essentially have accused the central forces or are accusing the central, your party is accusing the central forces of being, hand in glove with the BJP. That is what you're accusing them of essentially. That is what your party spokespersons have been accusing them of. If that was the case, 5 years ago, the TMC would have lost the elections, but there was a clean sweep. So this amount of distrust for central forces, frankly, I don't understand. These are your forces as well. These are forces of Bengal as much as they are forces of Delhi. हाँ, जनता के आगे तो कोई नहीं होता, लेकिन आप अपनी central forces को इस तरह से distrust भी नहीं कर सकते हैं.
Always win. Ma'am, I tell you the history about central force. In 2008 also, when TMC was not in power, the central force was deployed. But again, 49 people died. So I don't say we don't believe in an army or we don't believe in central force. But the thing is that it is very, very, very kind of possible, because we have seen with our eyes like how the central force and Suvendu Adhikari team, which is under the instruction of Amidst, how they match and play a game in Bengal, which you have to see. I mean, this such fake videos which are loitering around the world in India. I mean, it's very hard to believe what has been seen.
Okay, Shatorupa, respond to, I wanted to understand very clearly what the TMC's point of view was, which is why I cross-questioned Tauseef extensively. Would you want to respond to what he's saying? He's saying essentially the distrust comes from the fact that central forces are used as the BJP's forces in the state of West Bengal ahead of any election.
Yeah, good evening. Actually, I'm very confused with what Tauseef said. And he's mentioning almost everybody in India, starting from the Honorable Home Minister, and they always have to, I think it's in their itinerary, they have to mention Shubhendu at any one point of time. And it's all very well to blame the central forces and say that the BJP uses the central forces. One thing one has to understand is, if they are accusing us of this, and if I accept this with a pinch of salt, it is 2021 that we had the Vidhan Sabha elections in 8 phases, and the central force was there in full regalia. And Trinamool won with thumping majority. So in all fairness, in all my limited knowledge, I really don't understand what Trinamool has to fear about BJP using the central force. If we were using it, then wouldn't we winning all elections all over? Number one. Coming back to the entire scenario in West Bengal here, one is reminded of a Bengali song which goes like this. I'm not going to sing the song, don't worry, Shreya. it goes like this, Kopota chokher jal fele soche tumi bhalobasbe, which means how many drops of tears have you actually felt for you to even qualify to to believe in true love. Now, in this case, the reason why I'm mentioning this song of numbers is you very correctly said the 7 people, and you said it in a very, at least you felt the death of 7 people. Here we have a chief minister who's saying, with Tauseef repeated, that we had 69 murders in so and so time and 47 murders so and so time. This time we only have 7. So why do you need central forces? Now, another thing that you mentioned, Shreya, was that do the police at all want to solve the situation? That is where the appeal for central force comes in. Number one, data-wise, statistically, West Bengal does not have enough police to man the number of booths that are there, even if we deploy a single person per booth, which is not physically possible. So it was the state government of West Bengal which appealed to other state governments that could you please lend us some police. Now, if the same state government is now directed by initially the High Court and then the Supreme Court that getting central forces at least ensure a peaceful situation in West Bengal where people can vote, whoever they vote for. It's all very well that Tauseef is just ticking off some 4 parties who have connived in their wild imagination to create this kind of violence. But we all know, and it's not BJP videos which are doing viral. It is the local media which have recorded almost every single incident which has happened, and who has been openly saying, Trinamool has been openly, they've been caught on camera saying, we will not allow nominations elsewhere. Having said that, one last statement. Yes, we have filed for almost 50,000 nominations, out of which many have been rejected during scrutiny, and many have been forced to withdraw by Trinamool. There have been incidents where Trinamool hoodlums and ghouls
Shatorupa
have
ji,
gone
again,
home.
when you, ma'am, at least state the fact,
I waited
you have the
patiently for you
chart.
to complete.
Shatorupa ji, you have the chart with you. Why don't you show the Zila Parishad nomination
Tauseef, let her complete.
Please get into this perspective.
Tauseef, let her complete. Tauseef, let her complete. Let her complete her point. I'll come to you.
My last line, Shreya, that we have been forced, the one candidate's brother-in-law, Devar, has been chopped. There have been fathers who are scared. There are children who have been made to, the guns have been held on their head and people have been asked to withdraw nomination. This has been rampant with West Bengal. So unless we have a peaceful, scenario to vote, most people will not be able to vote. Forget about voting for BJP, CPM, Congress, ISF, Trinamool, whoever. They will not be able to. They will be scared to even vote. How are we going to campaign unless central forces come?
So, Tauseef, clearly the Supreme Court has seen merit in what the BJP and other parties are saying. Clearly the Supreme Court has seen merit then today in what the Calcutta High Court is saying. Because the Supreme Court is saying that an election cannot justify violence. The Supreme Court has used
Ma'am,
TMC or not. It certainly is.
Shreya ji, I don't want to quote anything against the court, for the court, because I'm no one in front of Supreme Court. We have to obey the orders, whatever the Supreme Court has asked to do so. But ma'am, when you talk about nomination, when Shatorupa ji clearly mentioned, if you see the chart of Jila Parishad nomination, there's only 1% of difference. So where are you cadres? And why do you blame the TMC? When you told me about the 7 people died, I told you, no, it's more than 7, because 5 TMC cadres died. Now, till what time? Till 8 July, you want to play this blame game in West Bengal? End of the day, you know what? You people are just harassing the BJP, is just harassing the people of Bengal and the Bengalis in Bengal. Why? Because whenever the debate is getting opened, it is very cleanly written violence in Bengal, which is very sad, which is very upsetting for the people of Bengal when they are seeing how BJP is creating a ruckus. And absolutely, it's no doubt what BJP is doing with ISF. Ma'am, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example.
The fact is, this is what I'll say.
More than 30 independent candidates, ma'am. Shreya ji, please listen to me. I'll show you the proof. There is more than 30 independent candidates where they're standing with Mango, Koila, Haswa, Hatoda and everything, where they have clearly mentioned that please vote for me, backed by BJP, IS, Congress left front. Shatorupa ji, I
You
need
know,
your
Tauseef,
answer.
I'll say this.
I need your answer.
I'll say this.
You are backing those
I'll say
independent
this.
candidates.
I'll say, no,
Congress
just a
kicked him. I
minute.
say both.
Just a
It's
minute.
a
The
four-
fact
it's a
is, I'll
four-way
say
game.
this. I'll say this. The West Bengal government and the West Bengal police have completely failed to stop the violence, the pre-poll violence in West Bengal. And the Supreme Court has upheld the Calcutta High Court, saying that no central forces will be deployed because that is what is required to hold a free and fair election in the state of West Bengal. So we'll just leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. You're not saying this, but this is an embarrassment and a setback for the Mamata Banerjee government. Thank you very much, Shatorupa and Tauseef, for joining us on the broadcast. As I